Now, let's change the other titles to black as well, so they're working together. Look, our little guy here needs to be changed too. This means that this should be a group. Okay, Command G. Now we're good to go. Seems like we can incorporate a bit more detail here, this part. So I'm going to bring the square tool, M, draw kind of like some box there. Use this maybe. Bring this to the front. So kind of working together on this part. Tighter, almost like if someone just drew those lines for them to write that lettering. I think it's gonna look a bit more handcrafted. I'm gonna remove this. This is interesting. I'm gonna move this down a little bit. Now that we have the shadows, I think it needs a better composition on top of here. Now I'm gonna work a little bit more with these parts. I think they need to have more dimension there. This is interesting. We still have our sun telling us where the light is coming. So this kind of arrow might be casting some shadows too. I'm gonna go object, path, offset path, bring it down with an iron shape. I think about there. I'm gonna change that to our black and offset this part. Actually change that front shape to other color. I just pasted it in front. Somewhere around here. Select both, go to the Pathfinder, Window, Pathfinder, select minus front. So remove that front shape and we are casting a better shadow here. You see that it needs a little bit of work. So I'm going to change that color to red and see what happens. Let's leave it in black. We just go color with more opacity, so it's not that harsh. I think that's better. Okay, so now we want this width to be applied to this part too. Select these two with the use of the white arrow, bring that in about there, a bit more elegant part of the shadow. Then we don't need this part because it's intersecting, so select everything, go divide. Now just erase the part that you want. In this case, because it's a shadow, I cannot just drag this to the right and duplicate it as we've been working. So I'm going to do the same. Select object, path, offset path. It should stay with the same -9 pixels. Bring that to the other color. If you want, just bring one of these guides down here so you're sure that's casting in the right part. And change the color first so you can see. I think this is correct. Select both shapes, minus front on the Pathfinder. Now let's use the same opacity, 37. I think it's working very well. Now let's do the same on this part. I think this is looking better. Okay, so we're almost there, I think. Let me do something on the background. I think we still have a lot of things in the negative space that are not really casting or doing anything to our composition. I am going to start working on that. I'm going to say goodbye to our sun. I'm just going to erase it. I'm going to unlock the background. Command Option 2. We're going to do again something with the offset path just to frame our composition. We start seeing less of the white space. Okay, change that color, maybe some kind of gold color, this one maybe, and revert it to use stroke. I'm going to change that to maybe 3 points, then select it again, object, path, offset path, and bring that up like closer so it's kind of like a frame there, somewhere there. I'm going to change that to 1, select first shape again, do the same with the offset path, but now bring that inside those two. This is going to give some sort of dimension to your composition. You'll already start seeing it, but I'm going to bring that down to 1. Like some sort of more elegant frame. Still something we were missing on the background, and for that I'm going to use the star tool to incorporate some texture. Bring your guides back, go to the center somewhere here, bring that up. I already was working on this, so let me reset that and tell you how I do that. If you press Command and you bring that down, up, and then you bring your arrows here, this could be a nice starting point. So if you press Command, that is going to affect the center of your star. If you are happy with it, just start playing with the arrows, going up and down. So up is going to increase points of your star, and down is going to remove them. I want something that looks more like a burst. So I'm going to do this and then Command, drag, so that center is almost invisible. You see here, I'm going to change the color to a darker tone. I'm going to bring this to the back. It feels slightly fuller and more interesting things going on. I think that that's also bringing up more dynamism to our composition, and of course the burst is helping everything to give the optical illusion that is coming from the center. Yeah, in here there's a lot of color going on, so I'm gonna double click on that, ellipse tool, put a circle there so we cannot block that part. So this is what I was looking for. Something like this. So we start seeing something more interesting in this part. Maybe we don't need that and we need to see that part cleaner, as it's just using this as a reference. We'll be sure that these are exactly in the center. I'm going to group all this, Command G, bring it to here. Okay, and I think we have it. I think the only comment I have is that I'm not really happy with how this is coming in, and that's the reason I'm going to introduce some. They're not pearls, but they look like pearls. Bring a bit more elegance to our composition. And then I'm going to select it again, object path, offset path. That should work. Maybe a little bit bigger. It's going to create like an inner pearl, and that's going to be because I'm going to copy it to the front and create the lighting for that part, light and shadow for this part. The same as our sun. Remember, the sun is coming from here, so we're going to do the same. Looks good. Maybe it goes into the warm color. Something like that. And I'm going to group it, duplicate that, and put it here. You see here that they're not really touching, so in that group, a little more square there, and then this part should be slightly in. Now let's evaluate. So now it feels like a bit more composed in terms of the symmetry. The last thing I'm going to do is play a little bit more with these titles. I'm going to go first to ungroup this. Command Shift G. Select these two, copy them, save it on the memory. Now with the eyedropper, select this color. That is going to be in opacity. Somewhere there, maybe less. Maybe it was 37. Just offset that. Arrows to the bottom, arrows to the right, and then paste up front, so that will give us shadows on that part too. Maybe we need to do it less and we need to do it closer. 30, let's go 30, and let's bring those in the letters. I think this looks good. Maybe I adjust some of this, and this is something that I do a lot. Once I finish, I want to keep adjusting it. That's, I think, is natural. And you do your own edits, explore what you can do in your composition, as I'll do too. Maybe you find another way to use these interesting effects on the compositions, and you can apply to something else in your work. But so far, I'm going to leave you here. We'll continue to this class. Now that you finish with your project, in our next lesson, we'll learn how to keep growing in typography.